Hare Krishna. We are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada, Founder-Acharya of ISKCON. We'll begin with invocation prayers and then we can continue with the discussion of chapter 5 from Bhagavad Gita as it is. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are reading from chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action and Krishna Consciousness. So Prabhupada has given this transliteration of this Bhagavad Gita as it is from Sanskrit to English very nicely. Even the translation of the titles are very appealing, right? And we see Karma Yoga, Action, Krishna Consciousness. We wonder what it is. See, not everyone in day-to-day life can go and do bhakti from the forest or from the temple, or living in the temple, or living in dham, where in the association of sadhus. Not everyone is that fortunate to be able to execute that. Even though most of us might have desire to retire early from our lives and settle in some holy dham, sacred holy places like temple, ashrams, or anything like that sort, and then dedicate our lives to the Lord who has given us everything, who is continuing to give us everything, whether it could be rain or water or shelter, whatever. But we are not that fortunate, not all of us, correct? So what do we do? How do we perform these spiritual activities without having to compromise on our day-to-day basic things like taking care of family, sending children to school, going to the office, talking to the neighbors, like these are common activities like any common men would do in a grahastha ashram. So Krishna has nicely given this to Arjuna because Arjuna is a grahastha. Grahastha means one who is a family man or one who runs family life. Okay, brahmachari means who is running a celestial life, not celestial, sorry, celibacy, celibacy. Okay, the life of celibacy, brahmacharya. And he could either stay in the Gurukul or he could live in temple ashram, but he should maintain the celibacy. And the next is this Grahastha ashram. Once he is married, his marriable age, then he gets married and then moves to a place where he can run his family and raise children and etc. And the next stage is when the man grows older. Of course, the female would grow older with him, the wife would grow older with him. But say, for example, when he reaches 50 or something, then he will take his wife and do holy dhams tours like pilgrimage. And that is like about in his 50 plus and vanaprastha, that is called. And then the last one is sannyas, where the husband leaves the wife with the family of the first brother, first son, or whoever the son they have. And then he goes to the full-fledged devotional activities like traveling to holy dhams and eat very little and sleep little and spend more time on chanting and giving Krishna conscious to others, these kind of activities. One may wonder, what if the man doesn't have a son? It doesn't matter, the son-in-law could do the duty if he had a daughter. Or if they didn't have any child, then husband and wife continue the vanaprastha. Don't need to take sannyas. Sannyas is the order, it is recommended in Vedic system, how Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvanyam Maya Shishram Guna Karmaha Vibhahasha. So he says these 4 ashrams and 4 varnas, I have created this. Why? So to regulate people in a proper order so they can elevate themselves to spiritual order, spiritual life. Otherwise, if they do whatever, like Graha Maris, they just do whatever they want to do, eat whatever they want to eat, marry whoever they want to marry, and sometimes they have children before even getting married. All these type of things only in Kali Yuga it would happen. But Vedic Puranas also sometimes it would happen, but to give us a lesson, not like a daily thing. Here in Kali Yuga it's like everyday thing. Okay, all right. So we have to learn a lesson how to run our life, whatever normal ordinary life that we have, by keeping Krishna in the center. That's the only thing that we have to add, nothing else. Okay, keep Krishna in the center. Don't delete anything from your life. Just add Krishna in the center and continue with your life. I like going to the office, taking care of family, and spending time in the society, community, helping them. And the best help we could do is giving others this Krishna consciousness, because it's a very simple process, easy to do, and it's quick to go back to Godhead. Because if you process, if you execute Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, it's not easy. And because there are lots of rules and regulations, we can't achieve all that. We can't follow all that. Best Karma Yoga means Nishkama Karma Yoga, that you do your activity, lead the results to Krishna, keep Krishna in the center. That's it, easy. Okay, next we'll continue from where we left. So we stopped at 5.22. So 22nd text we stopped last week. So we continue from 23rd. Saknoti haiva yasodum praksharira vimokshanat kama krodat bhavam begam shayuktah sa shuki naraha. Translation, let's see. Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. So one time what happened, when Indra was in his heavenly kingdom, and that time Brahaspati came, his guru for all the Devi Devatas, and he did not stand up. Okay, and this was very disrespectful. So that time he left the place. Brahaspati immediately realized this is an offense. He didn't want to curse because he knew when we offend a guru, he will get punished. Well, that person, whoever offended the guru, will automatically get punished. The guru doesn't have to curse separately, because the guru is a brahmana who is always merciful towards other living beings. So he left the place. And then later he realized his mistake, because it's all ego. See, then you understand that he was so puffed up with his position, being the king of the heavenly planets, king of all Devi Devatas. Of course, he didn't understand. He's still under the guidance or under the supervision or under the scrutiny of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is the supreme, king of everyone. He's the supreme controller. In 5.29 we will read that. Sarva Lokesh, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarva Loke Maheshwaram. So for all Sarva Loka, not one universe, two universe, all the universes, he is the supreme controller. Who? Krishna. If you and I know this, why won't a demigod like Indra wouldn't know? Of course he would know, correct? Because it just the pride covered his eyes of knowledge, eyes of spiritual knowledge. So he became very ignorant, right? At that time, for that time being, he became very ignorant. So, and as well, one time, Moon God also did a mistake of becoming very lusty, and he wanted to enjoy the wife of his Guru Brahaspati. If you look at this way, Guru Brahaspati is always in trouble with these Devi Devatas, because they are all so puffed up and they just enjoy. And Guru Brahaspati's wife also had an interest in him, Moon God, and therefore they actually united and they had a child as well. And Ila, I think the son name is Ila. So Like this, there are so many stories we study as case studies from the Puranas to give us a lesson how they suffered after that. And one time Indra was cursed to become a pig because he became very lusty towards the guru's wife. It was another guru, and he cursed him to become a pig, and he became a pig, and then he married to a woman pig, and then he had children pig, and he started to enjoy with pig family, pigs and piglets, and enjoying in the muddy puddle. And then he is supposed to be in Indra's position, and Indra is here actually running this pig family. And now the time is up, and he has to go back. His cursing period is over. Whatever the period duration that he was cursed to suffer, that is coming to over, coming to an end. So what he needs to do is he needs to go back from the pig family to his heavenly kingdom and enjoy his heavenly royal life up in the heavenly planet, Swargaloka. And he didn't go, and he didn't want to go. He chose not to go, surprisingly. And then Brahma has to come down and asked him to come back, and he said, "No, I'm fine. I'm enjoying this life. It's so easy, stress free. I'm just having lots of fun with these piglets and my wife pig. And no, please don't disturb me. Please go away." Then Brahma was very disappointed. "Indra, come on, you need to come back to your position. We can't go and hire another one and train from the scratch again, train him from the scratch. You better come and take up the position and continue." Said no. Then he sprinkled the holy water, the Brahma sprinkled the holy water on Lord Indra. Then Lord Indra realized, "Oh my God, what have I done? I have to go back." Then he realized, and then went back to Indraloka. So these are again the case studies we study from Puranas to give us the understanding of even these great personality fall down due to anger, due to this desire, because of this adjust to the material senses. Then what to speak of us? Then there is a Nectar of Instruction verse, Vacho Veham Manasaha Krodha Veham Jibba Veham Udara Upasta Veham. What does it say is, in the straight line you see this mouth, the tongue, the mouth, the tongue. So there are two things, right? And then you come down, there is a belly, and then you come further down, there is a genital. So you need to control the tongue first, and then automatically everything else will be controlled. Because what happens is, if you can't control the tongue, you eat all these things that is not giving you any healthy consciousness, but rather unhealthy consciousness, very ignorant, illusory consciousness. Then what happens is you won't take you anywhere in the spiritual journey. Even in the material journey, someone will lead a bad, hellish life only. Correct? So therefore, you need to eat what is sumptuous, nutritious, and that is in mode of goodness. And mouth also, the speaking, the mouth in the sense speech. You need to control the speech because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will teach us about the austerity of speech, austerity of mind, etc. So austerity of speech is what is it, Satyam, then Priyam. Like that, there are few factors. So, like for example, you need to speak a truth. You need to speak what is pleasing. You need to speak what is not agitating others. Okay, and we shouldn't talk nonsense. So Krishna is telling you all this to make sure that we refrain ourselves from the talking unnecessary things like frog, frogs, ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. What happens? It only invites the snake. Similarly, when we are in the material world and talk nonsense, we will only invite this Yamatud, because we are not chanting holy name of the Lord. We are inviting the opposite of Krishna. Krishna is full of bliss and energy and young and youth and everything, right? Yavana, Nava Yavana, he is. And inviting Yamadudas, they have a ghastly feature and they're very fearful to look at, etc. Then it is fear of the personification of death, right? The Yamaraj and Yamadudas. So we don't want to invite them, but rather we want to invite Krishna internally in our original Swarupa, which is Satchidanandam. Sat Chit Anandam, eternity. Our body would become spiritual, and then we are spiritual already, and then body we get spiritual body. Whether we might get a horse body or a peacock body or gopi body or gopa's body in the spiritual world, we never know. Depends on what kind of bhakti and how much bhakti we did. What kind of bhakti means only one bhakti, said to Bhagavan. What I meant was how we did it. Whether we fulfill the requirements, like whatever prerequisites before entering into the Krishna Loka, so we have to satisfy all that. Otherwise, what will happen? We will corrupt them. People who are living already in the spiritual world, we go there and corrupt their mind also. So there are two things in the previous verse. In the 23rd verses, Goswami and Godas is something I think I've already discussed. Is Go means senses, Swami means master of the senses. So if we control the senses, we become master of the senses. But if we don't, we become slave, then what happens? We become Godas. Das means servant. Then we become servant of the senses, which we don't want. So how we can control the senses? By directing all these paths towards Krishna consciousness, doubttailing this, like using the tongue, eating prasadam only, offer food to Krishna before eating, okay, and don't offer him meat, onion or garlic. Just offer him nice vegetables and fruits, nourishing fruits, nourishing food and wholesome food and everything. And then mouth to speak about Krishna, and then legs and hands to walk towards Krishna temple or to read books or go to devotees' place, like that. And then belly, and eat, of course, eat the prasadam, and it will go to the belly. And genital used to create children, procreate children, and then raise them in Krishna consciousness, like that. 24. Yontah shukontar okay. Yontah shukontara tara antaramas tatantar jyotir evayah shayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto dikachati. Yanta shuka antaramah. So yanta shuko antaramah tatan. Okay, I'll read it again. Yanta shuko antararama tatantar jyotir evayah. First line looks more complicated than it is actually. Yantaha, we can read it yontaha shuko. So because it's a apostrophe inter, so we read it together. So yontava shukonta raram antaramas. Antaramas means antaha aramah, actively enjoying within. So that is atmaram. So atmaram means what? This is antaram. Antaram or atmaram means inside, within. You enjoy within. So these yogis, you see, they don't watch VD. They don't need a big house or a car or big palaces or a friend circle or big nice clothes. No, they are happy with what they have. They're very content. Correct. So this is what it is saying. Anta shukaha. Antaha means inside. Sukha means we already know this. Happiness. Antaha, again antaha aramaha. Rama means pleasure of reservoir of pleasure. Lord Ram means reservoir of pleasure. So here also it says antaramaha means enjoying within. That Ram means that enjoyment or pleasure. Tatantar jyoti evaiha. Antaha jyoti, aiming within. Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam. So that is the state we wanted to realize. That is liberation in the Supreme. Brahma Bhutaha means self-realized. It's a simple Brahman platform means what? We are all Brahma in one sense. Lord Brahma is Brahma and we are also Brahma, but not the position Brahma, but rather realization Brahma. So we realize we are not the body, we are the spirit soul, and we have eternal connection with the spirit means Supreme Lord, and we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and the Prakriti is a material nature which is coming from the Supreme Lord and works under the guidance of the Supreme Lord. Whatever you see around, it's all under the guidance. So we say that we manufacture this machine and that machine, but at the end of the day, the ingredients, everything supplied by Krishna. Correct. So what is the big thing we have done? Nothing. So translation, one whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme and ultimately he attains the Supreme. So Brahma Bhuta stage is a very, very critical stage. So if you realize, see, Brahman means that spiritual, that is not material. So Brahma Bhuta means it's situated in that Brahman's platform. That is understanding that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. Okay. Say next 25th verse. Labante Brahma Nirvanam Rishyaha Kshina Kalmashaha Chinna Dvaida Yatatmanaha Sharva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Translation. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. See, you see that a lot of people in the society, you see there are philanthropists, there is altruism, philanthropism, and then communism, socialism, and a lot of isms you see. But what Islam should be is Isha Vasha Idam Sarvam Tena Tektena Bhunjitaha. There is a verse from Ishopanishad, first one, invocation verse, and it said that you take only what is in your quota, don't take anything from others. Okay, this is a simple context, simple principle. Isha Vasha principle, we say. So, because people are so greedy and the people want more and more and more, they want to accumulate and they don't know where to draw the line and put the line and the boundary. Where should I stop? So I want this, I want that, I want that, I want this. But they are not content. So they are never satisfied. In the previous verse, we saw Antaramas. Antaramas means that self-satisfied, right? Not only self-satisfied, happy within also. See, self-satisfaction one thing, and then happy within is second thing. Two different things. You can put it in a two different, the angle also. One x-axis, one y-axis also put. You can also put both in the x-axis also. The reason being is, we need to know. Self-satisfied means, okay, I'm satisfied, but with neutrality. But happy, self-happiness means what? Happy within means what? You're actually in bliss. You don't have the self-satisfaction. There might be chances of being contaminated by other thoughts, pride, anger, greed, envy, lust, delusion. When you see others doing something and you don't have yourself satisfied, but with little or more or less degree towards okay, I'm okay, I think so, I'm fine. So that kind of self-satisfaction. Happy means, oh, I'm happy, I'm in love with what I have. That kind of mood, there is difference, but again you can put both together also, no harm. But the point we need to learn how to practically apply this in our life is to trial and error. Because immediately you tell yourself everything you do good and speak good. Mind will like, really? I never done that before. So you have to train the mind, knowledge, hear more lectures, more and more lectures of this spiritual motivational lectures, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srimad Bhagavatam. So when hearing more and more, what happens is we purify ourselves, cleanse our hearing process and our heart, then automatically activities will be sinless. Because if you do philanthropic work, this verse is talking about more like you're doing social service. Okay, you're doing, engaging yourself in the welfare of all living beings, you cleaning the garbage, in the center of the town. You're helping poor people, you're feeding poor, you're giving clothes, you're buying things for them, you're giving education to poor children. Yeah, all good. But you go home and eat meat and drink alcohol, no one will save you. Okay, because one side you're doing good thing, and the other hand you're actually spoiling your spiritual journey. Hmm? And eating meat and drinking alcohol or in the mode of goodness, no, or in the mode of ignorance. Okay, it's tamaguna. In tamaguna, if you're doing that, I mean, of course you're in tamaguna, so you're doing those activities. So the decision made out of those material mode will not be in the mode of goodness, because you're the mode of ignorance. How can you make a decision in the mode of goodness? So therefore, we need to think about it. And also, it is not only destroying our health inside, but also it's our consciousness which will get contaminated. Sometimes when they are drunk, they abuse people or think bad or do bad. Sometimes some people go flat, they don't do anything until next morning. That's different story, but still it's destroying the health inside, correct? And also mind also, gradually it is destroying the thought process and the clarity, the rational intelligence, everything start to get diminished. Also they become rough and tough and things like that. So their spiritual journey gets jeopardized, which we shouldn't compromise on. So therefore, whatever the state of consciousness explained in this verse is not talking about the philanthropist or anyone like that sort, but rather it's talking about one who is in Krishna consciousness and does the welfare activity for living entities by giving Krishna consciousness to others. That is the real welfare work, nothing else. We think that giving food and see, you give food, you give cloth to what? To the temporary body, correct? You're not giving to the soul. You're not giving the thing to soul, the eternal entity. You're simply giving something. You're giving food today and it will come out next morning. You're giving clothes today, it will get torn in the, I mean, over the time it will get torn. But if you give Krishna consciousness, and even if they die in this lifetime without going to Krishna Loka, but when they take birth, because you have given Krishna consciousness, they continue from where they left off. Swalpa piyashya dharmashya tayate mahato bhayat. We studied this in second chapter. Okay, next verse is 26, 5.26. Kama krodha vimuktanam yatinam yatachetasam habito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. Translation: those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. See, there was Bilva Mangal Thakur. He was he was a Brahmana. He was coming from a Brahmana family, and he was a very nice person until he found himself a prostitute. He fell in love with, I think her name is Chintamani. And every day he used to come to visit her. Okay, one day what happened is, because he had this material desire so much to enjoy with her physically, so he wanted to, he would come every day, even though it takes long trip, he would just still come. One day his father died, but he was still in rush to go back to Chintamani's house, the prostitute house. And he has to do the shraddha, like ritual, the final ceremony, final rites to his father who departed the world. But he continued to lament about, oh, the time is going, time is running, I need to get back to her, it's already getting late and it looks like it's gonna rain. So he was so much kind of agitated and under the illusion that we have this body and I want to enjoy another body. So total illusion. So whatever the rites, final rites he had to do, he finished it, and then he was going to go to her house. And on the way, it started to rain heavily. And that time, what happened was he had to swim, and then he somehow crossed over the river. You know, it was like flood, but still he crossed over with the determination. And then he had to, and then she locked the door because she was waiting for him, but it was getting dark and raining, so she thought he wouldn't come. So she locked the front gate, and also inside the house door she went inside and into bed. But he wanted to open the gate, it couldn't open, so he thought he would jump over the fence. So when he tried to do it, he couldn't do. And what he did was he found a rope, and then he tried to climb up the wall using the rope, and then he fell on the other side. And but then later realized that was actually not a rope, it was a snake. So he was not even afraid of anything at the time because he was so much illusioned by the lust. Okay. And then he went inside, and she was so surprised to see and disappointed also, and then said, "Your father died today, and also it's raining heavily. You came all the way down just to enjoy the body, which is made up of stools and urine and muscle and pus and this and flesh. And what kind of person are you? What kind of Brahmana are you? If you have given this amount of determination to even to a minor degree towards Krishna, you would have been liberated already." Then it was felt like a slap on the face of the Mangal Thakur, and he realized, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? He realized that he was so much under the illusion that he was this body, and he wanted to enjoy. That's all, total sense gratification. Then he apologized and accepted Chintamani prostitute as his guru, left the place. And not only that, he thought if he has his eyes, um, he might. I think this is the story. I don't know. I hope I'm not confusing with another story of this part of the story. He borrowed the hairpin from her and poked his eyes and said, "I don't want to see anymore. Otherwise, I will get agitated again and become lusty. If I look at beautiful faces, a beautiful woman, beautiful features of the woman, I might become lusty again because I don't know. This Maya is very strong and I am very weak. So better I lose my eyesight than having to fight with Maya." So he did that, and because he has no eyesight, what could he do? Nothing. All he did was just chanting the holy names of the Lord, singing at the shore of the bank, some holy bank. I mean, bank of the river bank, like Yamuna river or something like that. That's how he spent the rest of his life. And Krishna appeared before him, I heard. And it's a nice story to learn. Of course, we won't go into that far, but because we won't have poke our eyes thinking, I'm not going to do window shopping anymore. Let me poke my eyes. We don't do about that. But we should consider what should we do. Okay, next verse we will go. 27 and 28. Sparshan kritva bahirbahyans chakshushchay iventare bhruva prana pranapanav samo kritva nashabhyantaracharino. 28. Yatendriya mano buddhi munir moksha parayanah vihate cha bhaya krodho yat shada muktaye vashah. Translation. Shutting out all external sense object, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence, the transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. So this is talking about Ashtanga Yoga process, right? So you sit in the pose where it's the cushion, the seat you sit on would be like from kusa grass, some grass known as kusa grass. And you choose that grass, or there is another grass also you choose, but you can't sit on anything. Like for us, we go to the shop and buy a nice cushiony chair and bring it and then watch VD sitting on the chair, a cushion and watch. No, this is not like that. This is, you particularly search for the kusa grass and you make an arrangement with the snake, not snake, snake skin, but the deer skin or a tiger skin, and make a like a cushion, but it's not too soft, like too bulky cushiony, or not too flat. So you sit in that condition, and also with eyes 3/4 closed. So if you fully closed, you'll go to sleep. Fully open, you only look at the people walking and birds chirping. You wouldn't do your meditation. So 3/4 closed, and then also you do this 8 steps to achieve liberation: yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So 8 stages. So you do rules and regulations, do's, don'ts, and then sitting posture, and then breathing exercise to control the senses, and then withdraw the senses, pratyahara, and then dharana, and then you start meditating, and then you go into deep meditation, and then trance. So these are like 8 steps. So but we again see we can do better than this. How? We can just simply sit and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You don't have to do going to the forest, secluded place, and finding a kusa grass and tiger skin or deer skin. We will die only. Before we get the skin, the tiger will get our skin. So that's all not possible. Why they do that, tiger skin or deer skin, is to shoo away the snakes or any venomous reptiles, because with the smell of that snake, skin, the tiger skin or deer skin, they don't come near. No insects or reptiles would come near, like snakes or anything, because they have to protect themselves. So that's why they invented all these factors, how they can protect themselves without having to worry about the fear of death coming through snake or another kind of animal, than sitting and chanting or meditating. They don't chant, they meditate. They could chant also, like, oh, something like that. Okay, 29th verse. This is the last verse and very, very important verse. This verse is also known as peace formula. Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram shugardam sharvabhutanam jnatva mam shantim richati. Shantim richati. Who will attain the peace? Shantim richati. Who will attain that relief from this material ailments? That who will attain? One who knows, jnatva. One who knows what? That Krishna is the Bhoktaram, he is the beneficiary of Yagna. Yagna means whatever sacrifices we do. You do Ganapati Yomam, Graha Pravesham, wedding ceremony, Annaprashna, whatever it is, whatever Yagna we do, the beneficiary, ultimate beneficiary is Krishna. We might do for Indra, sun god, Lord Ganesh, or Hanuman, like that, but end of the day, it ultimately goes to Krishna. Like you pay tax, okay, but finally it goes to the central government, like that. Okay. I'm just giving you an example. I'm not from tax department. I'm just giving you an example. Go to the central office. That's what I mean. Central government might not access your tax directly, but everything goes to him. Goes to the central office, the tax. You pay at the counter, but it goes to the top chief tax office or something like that. And then he would distribute, okay, how much percentage I should invest in infrastructure, for roads or hospitals or schools or any kind of recreational activities center, things like that. So whatever yajna we do, the beneficiary, ultimate beneficiary is Krishna. And Sarvaloka means all planets and demigods. So who is Ishvara? Who is the supreme controller? Krishna. Shugardam Sarvabhutana. Shugardam means he is the well-wisher. Sarva means all. Bhutana means living entity. So all living entities, we think sometimes, oh, I don't have a friend, I don't have anyone to share things with, I don't have my family here, I'm alone, I am so depressed. No need. Krishna is within our heart as Paramatma, and he's the best and best friend of all of us, you, me, and all living entities, plants and animals, and he is fair to everybody. is equal to everybody. Matta paratara jnatva kinchit. Kinchit something Dhananjaya. So there is a verse. So Krishna said, no one equal to me or greater than me. And everything like a pearl, how it's sticking on the necklace. Okay, you don't see the string of necklace, you see only the pearl. Like that, Krishna is there. Without that necklace, that string, the necklace can't be made. Similarly, everywhere Krishna is there. Nyatva mam shanti mrichati. And when you know all this, you will attain peace and you will be relieved from this all material pangs. A person in Krishna, I'll read the translation. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets, the demigods, the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. And this is important verse, peace formula. We simply understand Krishna as these three factors. He is the supreme controller, he is the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices, and he is the supreme friend, well-wisher of all of us, and he is supreme controller. We are done. So we can go back to Krishna Loka. We'll be relieved from all these miseries, right? If we think we are the controller and the enjoyer, that's the problem starts, right? Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.